Welcome back to the Professional Fan Podcast, your home for all things fan life. Today we're talking about music accessibility. So, music accessibility has been a big conversation at the moment in the music industry because there have been lots of little situations in recent tours that have just been terrible for everyone involved. Um, the accessibility queues, the accessibility tickets, all of the help surrounding concerts is available for people who actually need it. And to judge someone who would have to actually use that is just not fair. Um, I have, in the Five Sauce tour alone, I have heard of people having hearing aids or cochlear implants ripped off them, stepped on. I have heard of people who had mobility aids taken off them. I have heard of people who were in the accessibility line who had photos taken of them and were shamed on the internet because they had a hidden disability, and people were like, you don't need this. Um, and so today we want to talk a lot more about why these things actually exist, things that maybe don't exist that we wish did, and the stigma around it that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I think as well off of the back of that, like the general overall consensus of the accessibility needs, I think because they are so easily accessible in a way to like the general public as well. Obviously, there's processes, at least in the UK, there's some processes that some venues kind of enforce to make sure that you have a need for that access. But not every venue does, and not every there's a lot of loopholes to just like go through it. Like, anyways, I also think off the back of that if you are abusing that system as someone who has no accessibility needs, no hidden disabilities, no visible disabilities, nothing physical, nothing mental, literally nothing, if you don't have accessibility needs of any form, don't abuse the system. It is not there for you. It is there to help people who need it. It is there to support people who need it. And it is there to make concerts more accessible and more enjoyable for people who need it. It is not there for you to abuse because you want to get barrier or because you want a certain spot or because you want early access. That is not what it's there for. Don't abuse it. And I got cancelled on Twitter for saying that, but don't abuse it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I've seen a lot of is like Twitter's getting wrong, Twitter's getting mad at the wrong people. Twitter's getting mad at the people who are actually saying like, hey, this is what accessibility actually is, instead of getting mad at the people who are abusing it, which is really interesting. Um, because I have seen so many situations recently on Twitter that are just like, why are we directing the anger at the wrong person? Why? Um, I think whilst I don't need concert accessibility, like I don't need to be front of the queue, I don't need stuff like that. There ha are other things in terms of accessibility of music as a whole, which I've also seen dialogue around. Um, for me, I actually grew up wearing hearing aids. I don't wear them now, but when I was younger, it was really hard on streaming platforms that didn't have lyrics because if I hadn't read the lyrics, I got them wrong. To this day, I'm still discovering that some of my favorite songs have different lyrics than I initially thought, which is hilarious. Um, but I think the whole hearing it thing has been difficult because as a fan of music, you'd expect that like it probably wouldn't be a hard of hearing girl who's running a fan-led magazine, right? Um, the amount of people I see who if you get even one lyric wrong, like, oh, you're stupid, how did you not know that? Can we not talk like that? Because some of us actually do struggle to hear. Um, and it's not about who's a better fan because you know every word. It's some people just simply cannot hear it the first time. And we'll learn the lyrics eventually, or maybe for us it'll always be slightly wrong. But that's okay. That's not the point.
You do also get the artists like Five Sauce who put different lyrics on the background of their shows to the lyrics that are in their song. And then there's people like me who have pretty good hearing, other than the fact I've been to too many concerts and not worn earbuds, who look at those lyrics on the screen and then go, "This song has been out for 6 years. Is that the words?" No, it's not. You've put different words on there to fit the aesthetic of the tour, which is great. It's so great. It works so well. But for 3 or 4 shows, I felt like I was being gaslit by four
Yeah.
men. Ugh.
And don't start me on the fact that like the lyrics on Spotify versus their lyrics on Apple Music versus their lyrics on YouTube Music versus live versus the song booklets. I think that that particular band wants to confuse us.
It was literally yesterday that I saw a TikTok about Harry's tour, and it was a young girl. I say young because she's younger than me,
Yeah.
but it was a young girl who had gone to tour this Wembley show with her mum and her cane because she was uh, visually impaired. She could see, but she had a cane because she needed to be, it was very like close. She had to be very close to everything to fully see it. Fine. Um, Except the Wembley staff had given her hell and essentially yelled at her everywhere. She wasn't allowed initially into the pit, which was what she had tickets for. They guided her to the accessibility area, but then she was like, but no, I need to be in the pit because if I'm in the accessibility area, I'm too far away and I can't see anything. And she had this whole argument 3 or 4 times with 3 or 4 different staff members. And then she asked for the key for the accessible toilet, and they wouldn't give it to her because they said, you're not disabled, because she could walk around fine, because she was physically fine. Um, and then another staff member told her she had to fold her cane up to be able to have it in the venue, which is another crazy thing. Eventually, they let her use the accessible bathroom. I don't know why that would even be an argument in the first place. It's a bathroom, for Christ's sake. But and then I think it was towards the end of the show. It was either towards the end of the show or she went to a second show and she saw someone else with a cane and approached them and was like, "Hey, have you had this experience?" And they went, "No, they've been completely fine with me." So the double, they obviously, Wembley haven't been training their staff well enough about visually impaired accessibility. You need to have all of your staff understanding all of the same things at all of the same level for everyone to have a fair experience in their respect. Because my version of a fair experience is going to be different to your version of a fair experience because you have hearing issues. I don't. Well, I don't have an actual disability. I just don't take care of myself. You you need the extra, you need the extra hand, the visual lyrics, all of this stuff that just kind of boost your experience. I don't need that, therefore our fair experiences are going to be different. The staff, anywhere you go, should be able to accommodate to every single person.
Mm.
Maybe not down to the really niche, silly little things like, oh, I only like blue Smarties, but but generally speaking, if you need an extra hand, if you need a certain ticket area. Obviously, that's down to you if you buy your ticket, but like if you need the accessibility tickets, if you need a pit ticket for whatever reason, if you needed a seated ticket for whatever reason, you should be able to talk to staff and have this like understanding. When I saw this TikTok and this girl had explained that she approached someone else with a very similar disability because she had the same mechanics, and this other girl was completely fine, never had any issues, and the staff were really lovely to her. That must have sucked. That must have felt so horrible because why would you then just go out of your way to be horrible to one person?
Yeah, exactly. And I think some to summarize one of the points you made there, we're just going to clarify. Actual physical disability or something that may not be so visible but actually requires help, fine, fair enough, ask for it. The I'm allergic to Callum, so I need to stand in front of Luke, or um, you know, oh, sorry, if I'm not right round there where I can see um Ashton's drum kit, the clearest, not fine, not fair enough. I saw someone online, and I really hope it was a joke because you never know these days what's rage bait. Um, I saw someone tag the venue for a show and say, "My cousin's autistic. I need to be standing in front of Michael." And I was just like,
Do things correlate?
I don't know, but
I
they're
have
like,
ADHD. I need to be stood in front of Callum.
oh, I have ADHD and autism. I need to be stood right smack bang in the middle so I can look at whoever I want without getting distracted by someone else's biceps, with that logic. Sorry. Um, but I was just like, okay, that's really interesting. Or I saw someone else, and this was for a different show. This was for, um, I think it was like Youngblood. I might be wrong. But someone was tagged the venue again and was like, I have autism, I need to be at the front of the pit. Which to me didn't make sense because for autistic accessibility, it's usually please do not put me in a tight space where I'm going to get squished to death. Um, so that immediately was a red flag. But I'm just like, why are we trying to upgrade tickets? Because then they didn't just ask for VIP, for pit, they then asked for VIP and pit and everything. It's like, if that's really necessary, you have the option to buy those tickets without having to beg for it. If that's actually going to make your life easier, don't try and push your way into something you don't actually need.
There was another TikTok I've seen. Coincidentally, my TikTok for you page for the last maybe 48 hours has been hitting me with a lot of like concert accessibility things. I didn't know this was the topic this week. I kind of knew it was, I knew it was coming up, but I didn't know this was happening. So it landed all pretty well. But this
Yeah.
other TikTok that I saw was a woman at a festival in America somewhere. She had brought her young child, like 10-year-old child, to this festival, and another woman, my age, maybe went with her friends, whatever, went to the same festival, and obviously you queue and you get there at the front, first come, first serve. That is just how concerts are when it's pits. And this younger woman, my age, got barrier. Yay, good job. The woman behind her with her young child tapped her on the shoulder and made this whole TikTok. The comments are so against her, but made this whole TikTok saying, "Excuse me, my child's 10, she deserves barrier." The woman like my age turned around and went, "No." That got put online. All the comments going, I'm agreeing with the younger woman because if you wanted your daughter to get barrier, you could have just got there 5 minutes earlier and you would have been ahead of that woman. Or like, then that woman's in the comments going, I expect people to be accommodating and kind to my child. It's like, no, we don't owe your children anything. We are there queuing for hours as much as you are there queuing for hours. It is a first come, first serve. If you wanted to get closer, you should have got there earlier. And I know that sounds harsh, and I know that that's not easily done by some people. Like if you're coming to a show after work, or if you've got caring responsibilities or something. But it is as simple as if you want to be there, if you want to get there closer. If you want to get closer, get there earlier.
Yeah. I think if I was in that situation, my only thought was if I had been tapped on the shoulder and it was, hey, my daughters can't see because like you're pretty tall, then I would have felt bad for the kid. But like, hey, my daughter's young, let her up the front is like, okay, well, this is my first time seeing the band ever, and I got here earlier, so
And for all we know, we don't know any of the context, but for all we know, that young woman could have been saving up for years and years and years to see this band or artist for the first time ever. And it's like this bucket list thing. And that was the whole thing, like getting there early and queuing for hours and being barrier is all part of that big experience for her. And this mum could be like a very casual fan, and the daughter doesn't even really know who they are and whatever. We don't know any of the context around it other than my daughter deserves to be there. Okay, and so does everyone else in this crowd. Yeah, it's first come, first serve.
another thing is everyone deserves to be up the front, right? So if certain five-star pages can't digest the fact that maybe they shouldn't be pushing other people up the front. Yeah, but if you can't digest the fact that other fans are allowed to have a go, uh, maybe you shouldn't be online, especially if you can't take it
Also,
when fans
off
call
the
you
back
out.
of that, period. Off the back of that as well, I had a horrible experience in I don't remember which city I went to so many, and I know exactly who did it. I know their name, I know their face, I know everything about them. Um, I was queuing with my friends. We were different numbers in the queue, like they were like 6 and 7, and I was like 14 or something, even though I only got there like 2 minutes after them, but like a massive group came in between that because I got dropped off by the Uber at like the other side of the venue, so I had to do the sofa. Whatever. When you're there at like 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna sit with my friends. Sorry, I'm not gonna sit by myself. I'm gonna go and sit with my friends because it's 9 o'clock in the morning. The queue doesn't matter. I get that like the fans make their own numbering system and whatever, that's fine. And I do always respect that when it comes to going into the venue because that's just the fairest way to do it. Except the doors aren't even open. They're not even close to being open. No one's like no team member or anything has spoken to us. I'm just gonna go hang out with my friends whilst we all do our makeup and chat and have some snacks. Why are you yelling at me, telling me to get back into queue order and telling me that I'm ruining your experience? I don't care. I don't care. You're
Yeah.
there with 10 of your buddies. You're all having a grand time. I think I can sit with my two friends until doors open and then I'll jump back.
I don't
Get
understand
out of
that
my
either
face.
because in New Zealand, we don't have this. Like, I get really confused about the fights over fan numbering because in New Zealand, it's literally, okay, from my experience, I'm going to say it because I've never been to a place where this has happened, although everyone I talk to is like, no, I haven't had this either. You get there early if it really matters to you. You line up. You can be front of the queue, and at the end of the day, if you're in the pit, basically doors open for the pit first, and everyone runs to the barricade if that's where they want to be. Other people are like, I don't care. I'm just going to walk quietly. Um, Mum and I have discussed this as well because it's like if it really matters to someone, we're not gonna like try and get to the front because we just don't want to be pushed. It's like if we get to the front, cool. If we end up not at the front, I've seen the layout of this tour. I really don't think there's a place where you lose with the view, you know? If you're in the pit, you can't lose. You don't have a screen blocking you. You don't have a pole in any weird
Mhm.
place. If you're in the pit, you cannot lose. So why are we pushing people? Why?
Also, I have two takes on the pit. I love it. I love the pit, but I'm always in like two minds of like 100% respect the numbering and go in a nice calm line and respect everyone around you, all of that stuff, and make it really calm and relaxing and whatever. But also, once you're in the pit, that is essentially a free for all. If someone pushes past you because there's a spot, what are you going to do about it?
Hmm.
Because then obviously you get all the people that are like, that's really rude, you shouldn't push and shove. And it's like, but people are going to. You can't control anyone around you, you can only control yourself. If you want that space, just stand in that space. If someone else wants that space and they're going to get there, sorry, that's an L for you. Like, obviously, would be so lovely if people were just all the time, constantly, 100% of the time, respectful and just stood in a nice line and didn't squish and didn't push and all this stuff. It would be lovely. But that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is very different, and you have to prepare for the reality of it, not the dreamland of it.
Yeah. Now, you said the word prepare, so I'm going to bring something up here. Toilets exist, and you can get back.
Yes. Oh,
Toilets exist, and you can get back to your position. You know, don't be the person that is the reason why Noah Khan has to get on stage and make his fans pledge to not go toilet in the.
defecate.
Yeah. Especially because the Noah Khan one had seats as well. I don't know if you've seen that online discourse. You can get back to
Yeah.
your seats, just go to the toilet. Um, As for the five sauce one, I don't know what happened, but like, come on. Ashton
That
himself
was
had to
also in
address
the
it.
seated area though, because that was on the stairs, which means that was in the seated area.
So you're telling
Like
me
in the
that one,
video, it's on.
That one was also seated.
Yeah.
What are we doing? No one's gonna take your seat. Why are we,
Why are we pooping?
you know, it's if
Why? What?
if both Ashton Irwin and Noah Khan have had to address this, like, hopefully that's made you feel some sort of bad about it. Because,
Also, on the back of things that come out of bodies, like you said, you can go to the bathroom. Also, prepare yourself. Go to the toilet before the show. Go to the toilet after the show. You'll be fine. It's a few hours. I'm sure there's been scenarios in every part of your life where you've had to not go to the bathroom every 10 minutes. Um, if you are prone to fainting, maybe the pit isn't the best place for you because it does get stuffy, it does get hot, and it does get very cramped. If you are prone to passing out, it's not worth it. If you get to barricade and you're prone to fainting and you faint within the first 5 minutes of the show, unfortunately, that's on you.
yeah,
I don't know, because I always see people who pass out and then complain to the artist and expect free tickets to another show or something, and it's just like that. I don't know what you expect them to do. They did what was right and they pulled you out of the pit and they took you to the medical room and you got the help that you needed and then you entered back in. Maybe you entered back in, maybe you didn't, and you were like way further back. If you are prone to fainting and you know that's a thing about you, take care of yourself first, always. Always take care of yourself. Same with throwing up. Stop it.
yeah,
I have such bad emetophobia. I'm so sorry. Just stop it. Just stop throwing up. Generally, everyone in the world, all the time, don't throw up ever again.
yeah, agreed.
Stop.
I'm on board with that. Um, but also on the whole toilet situation, if you are someone who is prone to an upset stomach, um, consider that and what you put into yourself before you go to the show. Also consider that in the fact that if you are going to need to run to the toilet, consider where you stand. Because
Mhm.
that was wild to me because it that whole situation is like you've got seats, you can get to the toilet easily and come back easily. You weren't in a pit where it was like you were running to the toilet with an upset stomach and you couldn't get through people. Wild, wild.
Wild indeed.
It's just
Yeah.
like I don't get it. Also, on the topic of like being like throwing up, don't drink yourself to the point of throwing up because
That's what I mean. Why are you doing that? Also, again, that's another like watch what you're putting in your body. If you're eating sugar, cake, fatty food, and then jump and spin and scream, that's not gonna be quite upsetting. And then you throw up, and then it ruins everyone else's life.
yes,
Wheelchair users a lot of the time genuinely need the barricade because they need the space to put their chairs or they need the accessibility like platform that's usually raised in a venue, whatever. It's usually to accommodate for the fact that they are in these chairs and they take up a lot of space. And because they're in the chairs, they are then generally quite a bit shorter than someone stood at full height. Why are we like mad about the fact wheelchair users are in the pit? At what point does it become just like wildly rude to essentially say you you are physically disabled, so I don't think you deserve to have fun? Because that's
exactly.
essentially what like implied when they're like having a go at these people who are using these chairs or canes or walkers or anything that like physically aids them. And you've got able-bodied people just being like so rude about it. Why? Why do you care?
But then also when I think about that, I would rather that the wheelchairs were at the front of the pit because if the wheelchairs are at the front of the pit, the person standing is going to be taller. You can see past them. If you were
Mhm.
to carry a wheelchair into a seated place, then you've got this big, like the back of the wheelchair is quite solid, it's quite big, it's quite chunky. It'll be hard to move around, and you are less likely to actually be able to see past it.
Yeah. People just don't. I think I see a lot of the discourse on TikTok, but that's just because I doom scroll for hours on end. But
Yeah,
generally, like, I think people are just really selfish, especially able-bodied people who are fully mentally well and like they've never even smelt a disability in their vicinity of any kind. And I think it comes from such a place of like ignorance and selfishness to not even try and empathize and resonate and support these people who do need the extra hand, who do need these aids, who do need this support around them. Just because it doesn't affect you, I'm going to say this as myself, who is like fully able-bodied. I don't care. I don't care what someone who is in a chair needs or what someone with a cane needs because that doesn't impact me. If they need that support, they need that support, and I'm going to try and accommodate them around me as best as I can. But I personally, it doesn't impact me, so I don't care. Why
yeah,
should I be worried about this person who's in a wheelchair who's going to be in front of me, to the left of me, to the right of me, whatever? That has nothing to do with me. They
yeah,
need they need help, and not me. I'm not going to come online and then be like, someone in a wheelchair existed. Okay.
exactly. It's something that I don't understand is how many people are like so focused on like it has to be all aesthetically pleasing and there can't be anyone who slightly annoys them in their view. But for me, that's also really weird because I'm considering other people around me. I mean, if you've seen anything I've posted lately, I'm working on star bags for the show. And one thing I thought about, and it actually happened from seeing Michael and Crystal post Lower, but I like at the show and how she's so interested in the show. Um, it made me go, oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of young kids there, so I need to make some kid-sized bracelets in case someone's coming with their young kid so that they're included in the moment. But I do genuinely go to concerts and consider who's around me and like hope that they're also having a good time. Um, so it's wild to me that someone would be so upset about anyone around them because I'm like, I I also expect that if I'm in the venue, like people love the artist just as much as I do, otherwise you wouldn't buy the tickets. So I want them to have the absolute time of their life just as much as I want to have the time of my life. It's it's really weird to me how many people get so upset about who's around them.
Yeah, it baffles me, and there is this like hierarchy within a lot of fandoms. I've seen it in any fandom space I've been in, but I've also seen it when I'm not even in a fan base, but I'm in a venue. And obviously there's a lot of fans there, but there's always this like a hierarchy of what makes you a better fan.
Hmm.
And there's always ableist tones, socialist tones. There's always just this kind of like pretty privilege that goes into it as well. Like you're a better fan if you're better looking. You're a better fan if you know more lyrics. You're a better fan if you're always stood on the barrier for hours on end. No, just no. You're a better fan if you've got more money and buy more merch. No, we
Yeah.
are all there for the same reason. We all buy a ticket, however many tickets. We all buy a ticket to attend this same show. That's it. That's all it is.
Actually, on that note, there was something that I witnessed at a show once where people were in line to buy merch. And there was me and mum, then there was another girl behind me, and then there was another girl behind that. But because there's like three different people helping serve you, I walked up and the girl behind me walked up to another one. And I heard these two friends, the ones who were behind the girl behind me, they were like, the the girl behind me was plus size and she bought a hoodie that the girls were interested in and they were like, ew, like now we can't buy it because someone plus size is buying it and I don't want to match someone plus sized. Like that was so gross to me. The fact that they'd yell that so that everyone could hear it and the fact that like you'd even think that way because for me, when I buy merch, I think it's so cool that there are a ton of other people out there who love the music enough to be matching me. And I also love it, like when you go to the airport the day after a concert and you see tons of people who look like you and who don't look like you all wearing it, you're like, this is so cool.
I literally saw someone, I was walking home from work the other day, and for context, oh my God, it's so heavy. This is that's my that's my daily bag. That's just what has all of my stuff in it everywhere I go all the time.
No, it's your daily sauce bag.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Period. Period. Um, I was walking home from work the other day and I saw this bag on someone else in the distance. And when I tell you, they were like down the road from me, but like next to me, I stopped in my tracks and just went, and then she went, because like I'm from such a teeny tiny town where like you say the name 5 seconds of summer and everyone's gonna go, who? What? Um, so to see someone with the same bag and knowing it was a VIP bag as well, I was like, oh, you like really like them. Um, and we bonded over it for a few minutes. And then we also walked the same way home and we actually live really close together. I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't think I'm stalking her because now because we walked the same route home, I now kind of know where she lives
Yeah.
because our houses are so close. I was like, oh God, she's gonna think I'm a weirdo. But no, it's so, and you get to see these things, and like you said, it's people who wear this merch, and I get so excited when I see other people in it because I'm like, oh, we have a common interest. It's so fun. And then off the back of the comment you made about merch stands and plus size people and stuff, this has been like on my in my brain for a while of like usually merch stands go from small to XL, maybe 2XL. That's kind of the general bracket. I wish they did extra small and I wish they would go up to 3 or 4XL.
Yeah.
But please, like, just buy your size because I see a lot of people who are like my size and I'm small. Like, hence, I would like extra small things because I'm quite small. I see a lot of people my size buying the XL or 2XL things because they like this like baggy, oversized fit. And then you see people online talking about their experiences saying that these items are sold out because small people are buying the large things, so they're selling out faster. And then actual people who need those sizes aren't able to get it because they can't then buy a small because it doesn't fit. I can buy a small. I could also buy an XL if I really wanted to, but I can buy a small. So why
Yeah.
would I?
That's an
If people need
experience
it,
I've
people need it.
had where, because I am bigger, I try and dress in a way where you can't see it, but I'm definitely bigger. Um, why is no artist can agree on what XL is? Because for some reason, like my Niall Horan sweatshirt is what I'd consider an XL. It's a little bit baggy, but I suppose it would have to be just a little bit baggy because you don't really know what someone classifies as an XL. But
Mhm.
then my five sauce pink sweatshirt that's an XL is not baggy, but it's long, which is like weird. I
Five
could
Sauce
pull it
merch
over my
is
knees if I wanted
Five
to.
Sauce's merch is always so long. I don't understand.
It's because Luke designs it. Um,
Yeah.
Luke's just like, trust me, guys, we need an extra like 20 inches on this because I'm tall.
They're doing like small through to XL and then they're doing long, extra long.
Yeah. It for someone who is short and fat, me, like, can we not make Luke the model for the merch, please? Because he's tall and skinny. Um, but I think he wants everything big. Because if you've seen those tote bags, I'm like, what are you trying to put in there? They're literal kitchen sink. Um,
Yeah.
but that's something that if we're going to talk about accessibility, the sizing issue, because my Ed Sheeran XL t-shirt is so tight I can't fit it anymore. Same with my Elton John one. But then the Niall Horan one is quite baggy, but not too long. Um, the five sauce one fits pretty perfectly, but it's really long. I'm just like, but these
Yeah.
are all
I
supposed
don't
to be the same size, and they're not.
Yeah, it just And I get it, like, because if I'm buying like a sweatshirt or a jumper or a hoodie, I will usually go up to a medium because I need to account for like if I'm putting layers on underneath it, I still want it to fit. I could still wear a small, but I'm like 5'9", I'm quite limmy. Um, that if I get a small, usually like the arm cuffs are like up here, and I hate it. I hate it. I need my arm cuffs to be like, um, but I need to account for stuff going underneath it. So does everyone else. So like, even if you're getting an extra large, you could probably go up to a 2XL to account the fact that you're wearing shirts and layers and stuff underneath it. But then the odds on you being able to buy that because someone who's a medium has bought a 2XL because they like the oversized baggy fit. It's like it's just silly. I don't understand why sizing isn't in measurements.
Yeah. But the other thing is, merch is usually pretty good about being a little bit baggy because they account for the fact that's what fans want. So
Mhm.
I understand if like someone who was an XL was because you have to shop in a rush. I do quite often buy a size up if it looks like it's going to be tight. But someone who's a
Mhm.
small buying something way too big, it's like if you're going to size up by one, not by like
Mhm.
three, because that feels really unfair. I've also stood there, literally at Elton John. I stood there as my dad was like, there was one t-shirt that came in the right size for him. He couldn't buy anything else, and he really wanted the one that looks like the baseball shirt that Elton John wore himself one time. But it didn't even come in my size, let alone dad's. And so he had one option which he wears all the time. Like he's gonna wear that thing until it breaks because seriously, dad's the one who got me into concert t-shirts, concerts, music in general. But as someone who grew up with her dad being the one to get her into music, it has been really hard just seeing how there weren't options for him. We're going to talk about accessibility in all areas. But then also, I've been to places where, why are we judging older fans? Now, another thing I'm going to bring up about accessibility, because the Elton John concert reminded me of this. Um, can we try not blocking fans' views? Because I get it. It is really cool. It was an amazing outfit. Um, if you've seen Rocket Man, it's the scene where Elton John's walking into um therapy or whatever you want to call it, the AA meeting, and he's got like the big wings and that full outfit. It was cool and it was like so well done, but the wings were so big that you saw these like poor, it was like this group of ladies just like trying to go either side of him going, I can't see, I can't see. And he was the literal front of the pit with the biggest wings ever, you know.
Yeah, that's also the same with like Harry Styles. I know he hasn't done this for this tour. The vibe for this tour is completely big cowboy hats. Fantastic photo opportunity. Take your little pics. Ideally, have the ones with the strings on, and then just shove them on the back of your head and like, or on your front of your chest, and it's fine. We shouldn't be adding. I had a cowboy hat. I've worn cowboy hats to quite a lot of concerts, but then I've taken them off, especially if I'm in the pit. I've taken them off because there are people behind me, and I'm already 5'9". I'm already,
That
I
face
already
was
know that
me realizing I've messed up with Mum and I's outfits.
I've already annoyed people by just existing as a 5'9" person in a pit, and someone no doubt 5'4" is stood behind me, already irritated that I'm just there. But that as well as another thing, I can't help that I'm taller than you. I'm sorry. I got there earlier. I'm in front of you. I can't help that I'm taller than you. I won't purposefully obstruct your view like with these wings and props and signs.
That's a big one.
Stop it. Stop it, please. I'm an advocate for signs if you're on barrier, because then you can like hold them like down here.
Yeah.
That's cute. You can like rest them on the barrier. That's great. This is too much. For the whole show, it's too much.
On the topic of signs, can we talk about respect? Please don't be asking band members about their issual lives.
On the sign thing where you're saying like be respectful, there was a TikTok that I saw and I discussed this on Twitter. Um, and it was aimed at Callum and he shook his head. He outright said no. There is with this era in particular with Five Sauce, it's
Don't
very
piss
like
me off.
feed their ego. It's almost like flirty in a way, but there are ways that you can be flirty and fun and cute and like I had like dibs on the basis t-shirt and like he would wink at me and it was like fun little cutie things like that. What I didn't do is bring a sign that said, "Let me sit on."
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So that is sexual harassment.
Yeah.
There is nothing, there's nothing around that. That is just creepy. That is sexual harassment. That is not flirting. That is not like fun little back and forth. And I think as well, you need to get to a point with these artists where this is going to sound like a flex and I don't mean it to. I have a little bit of like, they kind of know who I am. Not kind of, they do know who I am. So I feel
Mm.
like almost they know how I talk to them. They know how I treat them. So when I pull up with a little dibs on the basis shirt, they know it's like, ah, funny, hee. Because they see me and they recognize me at shows and they get it. A lot of these people, if you don't have this kind of like relationship built, if you are a complete stranger, it makes it worse because
Yeah.
they don't know who you are, they don't know how you act, they don't know how you behave around them or how you talk to them, and you're just saying, "Can I sit on crazy?"
Yeah. Also, on the topic of respect, justice for Callum, because he's the nicest guy ever. So if I see any of you continuing this, the poor guy he was there, he was singing Don't Forget You Love Me, and someone screamed out, you.
Oh, I saw that TikTok. Why are you going to the show if you don't like the artist? Because you clearly don't. If you don't like the artist, why are you going to the show?
Also, I will say this to the day I die because I literally got it in his words, which I will drop the clip. In fact, I'm going to edit it in here. That is not what the song's about.
Yeah, I mean, it was a situation. It was something that someone said to me. But then it kind of became like that line became like more of a mantra in terms of like what you're saying is like it kind of crosses over different relationships in my life. So like it's kind of like something I would say to my family because I left home so early. Something I would say to myself. Yeah, so it's like it's multi-dimensional, I guess.
That's been this week's episode of the Professional Fan Podcast. Have a groovy week.